Can anyone be an investor? Isn't investing just for rich people? It seems so inaccessible. How do I get started? There's so much to consider when starting to invest, and clarity about your goals is a must. When you know what you want your future to look like, you can reshape your present. You probably weren't taught about how to manage your finances growing up. I know I wasn't. And most of us can feel confused or overwhelmed with the sheer volume of options. That's why I'm running a free investing workshop today on December 12th, as well as tomorrow on December 13th, which will give you the tools to take control and start your investing journey with confidence. You can secure your free spot at erica.com/grow. We'll also be doing a live Q&A session as well. Remember, the best time to start investing was 10 years ago, but the second best time to start is now. Head to erica.com/grow, GROW, and book your free spot for my investing workshop. I'll also leave the link in the description, and I'm excited to see you there.
Before I was 19, I'm $35,000 in debt.
When did you have your aha moment?
So I remember one time seeing my mom cry after a bill collector called her. It just really hit me there, like, hey, the caliber of my future will be determined by the choices that I make. And I have to make better choices and own the choices that I did.
Anthony O'Neill is a best-selling author, course creator, host, speaker, and educator. He is passionate about helping people build wealth and find their purpose in life.
Hey, your life is in your hands, and you got to take control of your life. You got to invest into yourself. You know, you got to start learning. I want to show the world that you can be successful financially.
I'm Erica Kohlberg, and you're listening to the Erica Taught Me podcast. What was your earliest money memory?
Man, I had to be maybe 10 years old, and my dad pulled up a chair, not a stepping stool, a literal chair that we sit on, and said, hey, you got to wash these dishes. And if you wash these dishes, I'm going to give you $1. That's my first money memory. Is the first dollar I ever remember having was with me spending an hour and a half washing dishes. And I thought I was just rich because I had $1. But it was a good learning experience because that was my way. That was my dad's way of saying, hey, in exchange for money, you got to work. You got to do something. So you just can't get a handout. Because I used to ask my dad for candy and for ice cream and all that kind of stuff. And he said, hey, cool, great. You want some money? Pulled up a chair. I stood up on it. He ran the water. He ran the soap suds. Now wash the dishes. And he gave me $1. And now that I'm older, my dad, you robbed me, man. $1, hour and a half of my time. Come on, Dad. That wasn't even minimum wage. But that was my first money memory, though. And I love it, though.
Were your parents good with money?
You know, if I say that, you'll get me in trouble, because my mom and dad, they love your show. So I would definitely say at that time, they were not as good as what they should have been. They're much better now, but back then, no. I would definitely say respectfully, we were living paycheck to paycheck at that time. But my father and mother always tried to make sure that they weren't doing the right thing. They wanted to make sure they set us up to do the right thing. And I respect that.
When did you first start making big decisions about money, and what do you think was the biggest money mistake that you made?
You know, big decisions with money. Well, the biggest mistake that I ever made was that I think that started my downward path of getting money was taking out student loans when I didn't need to take out any student. You know, so my father was in the Army, and he had the GI Bill. And so I went off to school, and the GI Bill took care of everything. But I see all my friends getting their refund checks and buying, rims for their cars and taking out ladies to eat and going on spring breaks. And I was like, well, shoot, like, where's my refund check? And then my counselor told me, well, you don't need it because your dad paid the GI Bill. But if you need it to live, I mean, you can apply for it and you can get like 10 grand. I was like, $10,000. I'm 18. This is 2002. I'm like, 10, do you know I can do it? Let me get that. And so I did it. And man, I never forget. None of that went towards school. It went towards, I bought spinner wheels. I'm going to say, this is going to show how old I am. I bought wheels that just kept spinning when you stopped.
Oh, those are cool. I know them.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I bought those, but I put that was $5,000 in a car that the transmission was blown in. It couldn't even go in reverse. So the car could only go forward. But then when we stopped the wheels kept spinning. And I think that was the worst money decision I've ever made in my life because I didn't need that. And so when I was exposed to you can borrow money and have all this cash on you, I went out and borrowed more money. I went out and took out more credit cards. And I was like, yo, before I was 19, I'm $35,000 in debt. And that doesn't seem like a lot today, but in 2002 at 18 and a half, that was a lot of money. And so I really learned a lot from that because I started getting bill collectors. They started calling my parents looking for me because I wasn't paying it. Because no one taught me like, hey, if you borrow money, you got to pay it back. No one taught me about what is interest on a credit card. And so I'm thinking this is all free money and I can just pay it back whenever. When those bills started coming, I didn't have the financial resources to pay them.
When did you have your aha moment that, oh my goodness, I have to pay these back?
I think the aha moment hit me when I had to drop out of school for making a bad decision. And my mom and dad just pretty much lined out all the bills because all the bills was coming to their house. And I was like, hey, you right now, your monthly payments are right around $4,000. Eric, I wasn't even making at that time maybe 800 a month. And because I got kicked out of school, I had to drop out of school. I made a bad decision in school, and my parents was like, "Hey, we don't condone that. So since you think you're a grown man, go find your own place to stay." I was homeless at the age of 19. I got $4,000 a month due on bills. I'm sleeping in the back of my car. My family, my friends are thinking I'm staying with one of my girlfriends, and I was actually sleeping in a Walmart parking lot. And life just really hit me there. Like, hey, the caliber of my future will be determined by the choices that I make, and I have to make better choices and own the choices that I did. And that's when life really hit me and said, okay, the first choice you got to make is you got to learn how to be a better man, make wiser decisions. And then number two, hey, if you borrow money, you got to pay it back. And that's when I really started realizing that I don't really want to borrow money anymore. I want to live free and have freedom. And so I started really just doing research and studying people. And I started studying Robert Kiyosaki, Dave Ramsey, who I eventually connected with and became good friends and worked with them for a season, and other people in the financial space. And out of all those people, the Dave Ramsey method just really stuck with me. And I just started rocking that method of having a debt-free lifestyle.
How does it feel though in that moment when you're sleeping in your car? How can you feel hope that you'll get out of that situation?
I think for me, it was, some people may not agree with this statement, but I think my parents knew that if they allowed me to come home after making that bad decision, after racking up that much debt, that home was honestly going to keep me in that lifestyle. And so for me to go homeless, the hope was it matured me faster. It grew me faster. It made me to look at myself in the mirror and to say, you know what? I was blaming my parents for not teaching me. I was blaming my friends for using me to get all the money. And I was blaming everyone else, but I never pointed the finger at me. And so during that situation, the hope was, hey, your life is in your hands and you got to take control of your life. And man, and when I did that, I said, okay. And has life been easy since then? No. Have I made all the right decisions with my money? No, because I've made a lot more money since then. But I don't borrow any more money, and I am living way below my means. And it just feels good to have that. So the hope came from really myself, owning my faults, owning my decisions, and accepting that, hey, if you want a better future, then you got to make better decisions.
So you've realized that, okay, I need to pay back this debt. What's then the next step practically to start getting you there? Are you working on earning more money or did you set up a budget? What do you remember what you did?
Yeah, the very first thing when I went home, I apologized to my parents and told them, I was like, hey, I'm not a grown man yet. I'm only 18, 19. You know what I'm saying? That's not grown. I'm still a little kid. And my parents was like, thank you. Thank you for saying that because you're not grown. You still need us. And when you need us, you ain't grown, So I was like, all right, you're right. Okay. Don't throw it in my face. And then the second thing, man, my dad gave me a budget form, a Dave Ramsey budget form. And he said, hey, you need to learn how to budget. I said, well, budget what? He said, yeah, that's the third thing. You need a job. you need an income. And so my parents gave me a year to live in their house. And they said, hey, you can have a year. This year, you don't have any friends. Dating, who is she? What? Huh? It was, you got to get money. You need to get out of debt so you can get on your own 2 feet as a young man. And so that was the very first step, was really learning how to budget, bring in the income. And I went and worked 3 jobs. My very first job was a bill collector in Erica. That was scary. It was scary for me to be a bill collector because when I got on the job, I didn't know that they were collecting for a particular credit card that I owed. And so while I'm sitting there calling other people, and back then, you don't know who you're about to call. You don't get a list of names. The computer just brings up a name and you call it. For the first 3 months of me on that job, Erica, I'm sweating, thinking my name better not come up.
Call yourself.
And call myself. Or nobody from this office better call me. I'm sitting here sweating. So instantly, my first 2 paychecks, I paid off that card. Because I was like, yo, I can get in trouble. They can fire me. And so I did the morning shift. So I did the 5 a.m. because I was on the West Coast in California, San Diego. And so we would call the East Coast at 8 a.m. So from 5 to 3 p.m. I worked. And then from about 3 to about 6, 7 o'clock, I washed cars. And then at about like 2 o'clock in the morning, I'll go deliver newspapers. And so I was working 3 jobs to, 1, get out of debt, 2, to have some savings, and 3, to eventually move out of my house. And so I think the very first step for me was really getting a plan for your money, and then also having income coming in. Because one thing that I've learned on both of our platforms, we're helping people get out of debt and really get control of their money, right? But we can only teach that so much. If they don't have income coming in, that doesn't matter. So the first step for me is having income and having a plan for that income.
On the debt collection, now that you've been on the other side too, what are some tips for negotiating down your debt?
Oh, that's so good right there, E. Cause boy, I used to get them. Let me tell you right now, I was a number 1 debt collector because I just knew how to scare people. And I hate to say that.
So bad. You sound proud of that.
I know, but it's back then. But now when you ask me that question, no one's never asked me this question. Erica, you're a great interviewer. This is really good. Here's number 1. If you're on the other side of it, don't be scared. When they call you, they're going to say anything and everything to try and get their money. The best time to pay your collections is the last 3 days of the month. On the last 3 days of the month, everybody, you can get your debt paid down to about 30 cents on the dollar, right? So let's say, for an example, you owe $100, to be an example. You can honestly pay them at $30 and settle it in full. Well, if you wait for the last 3 days, they're going to update the credit report. And I'm not really a huge fan of the credit report, but here's something you should know. If you wait for like the last 3 days and you really hold your gun, say, you know what? I owe you $100, but I'm going to give you $40 and you have to give me a pay in full letter. You got to report it as paid in full. So there are some collection agencies that will do that so that they can get the money. Because understand, everyone on the opposite side of that phone, they're all commission based. And if you owed $100, they didn't pay $100 for that debt. They probably paid $10 for the debt. And they're trying to make some profit on it, right? Mm-hmm. And so the lowest at that time we could go was 25 cents on the dollar without approval. I don't have to ask my manager. And then 2, let me tell you this too. When they say, hey, let me get my manager on the phone, Erica, it's just me and you. We co-workers. We put you on pause. You'd be like, hey, Erica, come talk to him.
Pretend you're my manager.
Yeah, pretend you're my manager and just run and play this. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get 30 cents on the dollar. All right, cool. Mr. O'Neill, this is Erica. How are you? And I'm the site manager here. This is what I can do. If you can write a check today, I can approve 25 cents. Oh my God, thank you so much. Thank you. I can do 25%. And when they put you back on pause and they all screaming, and no manager never came to the phone. And so I think for me, it's just really about, if you are on the opposite side, never do a check, because I've seen it several times where they'll run your account. Let's say if you settle in full for $30, they're running for $30 this month and they're running for $30 the next month. So never do a check. And my thing is over the phone too, is don't do a credit card. Send in a certified money check with a certified letter. So that way you get it, and then never pay them until you get it in writing on letterhead saying, hey, we're going to settle it in full. And those are steps that I do. And I always try to negotiate for pay in full letters and have them remove it from your credit report. Not all collection agencies would do it, but the majority of them within the last 3 business days of the month, oh man, they're going through all kinds of stuff to get the money in, because they have to report it back to, the bosses and say, hey, listen, we collected and we made money. It was a great job for me because I was able to make at that time about $2,000-$3,000 a month.
Wow.
And back
because
in 2002,
it was commission based and you were good at your job.
I was real good. I was so good at that thing, Erica, that they actually moved me to Jacksonville, Florida to help open up one of the collection agencies. I went to be a true site manager, to where I had other collectors up underneath me and I would train them and help them collect money. But you had people back then making $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a month in 2002. Now, in today's day and time, that may not be a whole lot of money, but to the average American making $5,000 now, that's real good money.
One of the biggest challenges as a creator is making enough to earn a living doing what you love. And you don't want to miss out on opportunities and leave valuable money on the table. Today's sponsor, Kajabi, makes it easy to diversify your revenue, build your own brand, and turn your audience into customers. They provide a one-stop shop to turn your skills, passion, and experiences into enriching online courses, exclusive membership sites, thriving communities, personalized coaching, subscription podcasts, and so much more. Kajabi is the ultimate all-in-one platform that helps creators and entrepreneurs build successful online businesses by unlocking predictable, recurring revenue. You don't need a huge audience to make sustainable income. There are thousands of creators on Kajabi making 6 and 7 figures with less than 50,000 followers. Right now, Kajabi is offering a 30-day free trial to start your own business if you go to kajabi.com/Erica. That's kajabi.com/Erica. Erica with a K. Go to kajabi.com/Erica to earn more doing what you love. I'll put the link in the description. Talk me through the script that I can use because, for example, you said that at your place, you guys paid 25%. So, or you were happy collecting 25%.
Yes.
Meaning if you owed $1,000, if you collected $250, you're happy.
Yeah.
How do I find that magic number of what I can get them down to in this negotiation?
Start real low. Just so, like, for an example, if someone calls you and says, hey, Erica, I'm calling from such and such, you owe this particular debt, it's $1,000. Okay, cool. Tell them the truth right now. Hey, I don't have $1,000. If I did, I would have paid them. But I'm in a good position now to where I could do something, but I really don't want to prolong the situation. So ask them, hey, what is your best offer? And I'm not trying to play any games. Like, can I just give you $150 and we call it a wrap? 9 times out of 10, they're going to say no, right? Then 9 times out of 10, they're going to come back with, hey, we could do it at 600. We'll say be 400. Then you come back and say, hey, I'll give you 250. Go to that 25 cents number and stay there and be willing to hang up. They're going to call you back the next day. They're going to make threats. They're going to say, hey, we're going to call your job. Hey, we're going to call your neighbors because that's called skip tracing. They could do that kind of stuff, right? But it's like now it's those last 3 days, they're going to come to their very bottom number. Now, what I will tell you is if you don't take advantage of it during those last 3 days, you're not going to get that offer again. And then what's going to happen is they're going to go back up or they may sell it again. They may sell the debt to another collection agency. And so
because they're like, oh, it's hopeless.
Exactly. And keep in mind, when it comes to the credit reporting, right, it's a lot of people think, well, I haven't paid this thing in 7 years. It's going to fall off. No. That's not the case. So if I sell Erica's debt today, that restarts the 7 years because it's brand new. And so just take advantage. If you have the financial resources, just tell them the truth. Hey, I'll give you 30 cents on the dollar. That's the best I can do right now. I need to pay in full, settle in full letter on letterhead. You can email it to me and I'll certify the funds to you today, overnight it.
Typically, like I got really into learning about medical debt because a lot of my audience I found out had medical debt. And typically, you actually don't want it to go to collections because it's harder to negotiate once it gets to collections.
Is it? On medical?
On medical.
Wow.
But is that what it's like for when you
Credit card?
credit?
Nah, when I was doing it back in 2002, nah. I never collected on medical, so I don't know anything about medical. I only collected on credit cards. And credit cards, the thing that I do not like about the collection agency is just that they're very disrespectful. And they will say whatever and do whatever to collect those funds. And it wasn't something I was proud of doing. I never disrespected anyone, but I knew how to talk.
Yeah.
And I knew how to scare you a little bit before crossing that line. Because I remember one time seeing my mom cry after a bill collector called her. And I said, you know what, I need this job, but I don't want to get to that point to where I have somebody's mother's crying. And so it's really not hard if you just know how to negotiate and just stand true, but with us, yeah, we always settled. I promise you 90% of the time, we never collected 100% of what the debt was. But are they collecting that on the medical? Are they getting 100% on the medical side of things? Are you seeing that?
Like when it goes to collections?
Yeah, when it goes to collection.
No,
Okay,
it's also a fraction of it.
Very fraction?
I want to say 30%.
Wow. I'm telling you right now, I have some guys in the collection agency now, they're paying 5 cents, 10 cents on the dollar for whatever that debt is. So they're not paying a lot of money. And I think that's something for people to understand. Now, for me, my bills, though, I actually did a little different, so I honestly didn't settle. I actually paid them in full. It was a spiritual conviction for me, because I really wanted to. But no. Let me retract that. I did settle on one, but two of them on my spiritual journey, I felt bad not paying back in full. That's just for me, because I paid one to settle. Then when I settled, I was like, dang, they gave me 100%, and I gave them back that, man. And I remember talking to my family. I was like, yeah, bro, because how would you feel if someone did you that way? So that was a spiritual thing for me, though. I'm not recommending that for everybody. I'm just saying that was for me.
No, I think the practical advice you're giving is so good to learn how to negotiate.
You got to learn how to negotiate on everything. I negotiate everything. Even though I got the money, I can afford it. I'm like, just because I can afford it doesn't mean, no, wait a minute. Like, how much is that again? $100? What about 60? Like, I negotiate. If I can, I'm going to negotiate it. Listen, I negotiate dates, Erica.
What do you mean by that?
I'm serious. Like, what? First dates, I ain't spend no more than $99.99.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
you know what I'm
fair.
saying? Because these ladies out here talking, yeah, well, we need to go to Ruth Chris. I need at least $200. Well, no, we can do 100. You want to do 100?
You should do coffee dates. Then you can minimize it to
Erica, I don't know about
$10,
coffee dates.
$15.
My sisters.
I haven't been in the dating world in a long time. You can tell.
Erica,
Would that not work?
it just won't work. Are you married? You married?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Erica. Listeners, please let her know in the comments chat somewhere. Let her know. Coffee dates in today's day and time just ain't working. I agree with you. I would love to go to the coffee house. I seriously would. But saying this respectfully, in my community, the African American community, nah, my sisters ain't going for no coffee date. They're like, boy, you want me to put on some red bottoms and get all dressed up and get my hair did and do all this type of stuff, and you taking me to a $10 coffee date? Like, is that all that I'm worth? And it's like the first date doesn't mean nothing about how much you're worth. I'm just trying to get to know you. But these is like, nah, I'm not about to get dolled up to just only spend $10. Yeah, it doesn't work.
Do you split the check?
No, I've never split. Now I'm a man now. I'm a grown man now. My mom and dad will be upset if I ever split a check.
I think it's fine to split it.
You think so, E?
Yeah.
You're very successful. How long you been married?
7 years.
See?
Or no, wait. Why did I say 7? Together 7, married 4.
Married 4. So from my platform, I don't see there's nothing wrong with it, but I'm not teaching men to split the first date.
Okay.
Lead by an example.
Well, I thought I could save you 50%.
I like the negotiating in you, E. I like that. No, but I think it's definitely fair. But I just think back to your original question. I think you got to really sit back and negotiate everything. I've had the opportunity to be around a lot of wealthy individuals, wealthier than me, and they negotiate.
Yeah.
They said, how much is, and I think that's why they're wealthier, because just because they have the money, just because I have the money doesn't mean we need to spend all of it. I'm redoing my basement right now in my house and removing my studio from my basement to actual studio building in DC. And so I had a couple people negotiate, and I spent the whole month just negotiating prices. Like, hey, John, I had 3 people, John, Bill, and Ray, for an example. John, Bill said X amount. Okay. All right, Ray, Bill and John said X amount. So that negotiating ended up saving me close to about $6,000.
Wow.
When one of them had worked on my house from the very beginning. And by the time I got back to him, he's who I really wanted. But I wanted him to know, like, yo, bro, just because you pull up and you see what I have doesn't mean you're going to charge this price. And so I negotiate, period, and I save money. And I'm like, yo, bro, I know you got it. I don't have it. I can't afford that. Doesn't mean I'm broke. It just means I can't afford to pay that price. And so we're going to negotiate and get the best price because I want to be a good steward with my finances as well.
No, I think that's fair. Yeah, I negotiate everything. It's a bit embarrassing sometimes because now people will recognize me and they're like, yeah, you would negotiate. Like, that is part of your character.
Think about it. If I'm trying to sell you something, I already know off the top, Eric can about to negotiate with me, boy. See, I already know it, And when people see me, and it's so funny you say that because when I go out on dates, when people come around me, oh, that's the money guy. He put that credit card away. I went out on one date and we were dating for a while. She was about to pay for it. I saw her go for her credit card and she literally put her debit card out. So when people deal with me, it is funny. Yeah, they just know, like, well, this is Anthony O'Neill. Let's not have this conversation. Or, hey, Anthony is not going to spend this kind of money on this. And the truth is, I may, but we're going to negotiate. We're going to have a conversation about this price.
Wait, so that's right. You don't believe in credit cards. You
Yeah, I
don't have
don't.
any credit cards?
No,
Just your debit card?
just my debit card.
You realize how crazy that is?
Hey man, I mean, I understand that. I think for me, and here's my truth, right? And I can say this now. I don't believe that credit cards are just it's not a bad thing. I think for me, I want to show the world that you can be successful financially and not borrow any money. Now, mind you, I have real estate and I borrow money for my real estate, right? But to go buy this iPhone, I'm just gonna pay cash for it. To go buy my cars that I have, I saved up and paid cash for it. And it's not because I feel as if that having a credit card is just the dumbest thing in the world. I don't believe that. I believe that for the majority of the people in America, they cannot have a credit card. But Erica could. A someone else, one of my mentors, very, very well known, he does. But I just want to be an example that, hey, borrowing money, you don't have to. Now, of course, when it comes to real estate, my philosophy is like, hey, borrow what you can to go get into real estate, build those investment portfolios up. But why are we borrowing money to go buy a pair of Louboutins or Gucci?
Yeah.
Why?
That's fair. If
You know?
if you're borrowing on a credit card and don't pay it back in time and have to pay interest, I agree.
Yeah.
That is frivolous and unnecessary. But generally, you know me, I love credit cards.
know
I get
you
my
do,
benefits, I get my points, I get the warranty extension, I
I
get
do.
baggage insurance, everything that comes with these credit cards.
I love it. I love it. No, I'm serious. From a personal tip, man, I just don't. I actually like the freedom of waking up and knowing that I don't have any debt out there other than my mortgage. And it just feels so good. I remember when I went in to purchase my dream car, and it was like, "Yo, we need to pull credit." I was like, "No, I mean, why are we pulling credit?" So you better pay cash for this. I said, "Yeah." They said that is the dumbest thing you could do. I said, "Really?" I said, it's dumb for me to pay cash for my car that I plan on keeping for like 10, 15 years. Because the kind of car that I purchased, the body style don't change for at least 10 to 12 years. And
What's
so
the car?
it's a Bentley.
Oh,
Yeah, I saved up for that thing about 4 years though.
you're so fancy.
Hey man, listen, I saved. I saved for 4 years.
So
I
you
drove.
can pull up in the Bentley and then take them to $10 coffee because then they know you have the money.
But see, that's what I'm trying to do. But that's the problem. I pull up in the Bentley and they're like, why are we going to Starbucks? So I'm like, oh my gosh. But I mean, I saved. I saved like close to like 30, 40 grand a year and drove an Acura TL until like the wheels almost came off. I had like 213,000 miles, I think, right around 200-something thousand miles in that car before I sold it. From there, I bought a Porsche and I bought an old Porsche, like 2014 or 13, drove that, put 100,000 miles on it, and just saved because I knew where I wanted to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to be an example to people that, hey, you can do this financing it or you could do it paying cash. And I don't think there's a lot of people on the cash side showing good examples. Everyone that we see on the pay cash side it's the be frugal and drive the Honda with the ugly cars and live in his home. And I'm like, yeah, no, that's not me. I like nice things, but I don't want to have to be in debt for it neither though. So if that means I had to save for 4 years and pay, and I bargained. See, I negotiated. I walked up in that joint. I said, nah, man, they had this price. I said, nah, I walked off. I said, listen, man, if y'all want this, it's cool. I went in right around the 13th of the month. I remember in the middle of the month. And then they called me. The car was still sitting there. I was like, bro, I'm not coming in. Like, if you're not going to come in and sell me, bro. You should know this by now. I was like, I know AO. I said, send me the invoice. I'll get the certified check and I'll come up there. You're not selling me no extended warranty. You're not selling me to fix the wheel package. You ain't selling me none of it. I'm bringing in the check. I'm going to sign the paperwork and here go your check. And they literally gave it to me for what I asked for.
Wow.
But I was also willing to wait. I was
Yeah.
willing to walk away from it. And I was also willing to do research. And the good thing about it was in my city. So I didn't have to travel. And here's the thing I was negotiating. I said, hey man, they got one in Florida. It's about $5,000 over my asking, but I'm pretty sure if I called them right now, they'll do it. So the sales rep came back to me about like 4 days later and said, hey man, if you come in and get it, we'll sell it to you. I said, cool, great. Came in there. And it feels good to drive that car and I have the pink slip in my safe, like I just love to know that I own it. It feels good. But I have a lot of friends who are doing exactly what you do, right? You know, they have a credit card, they're financing things, but they don't really finance cars. They're like me, but they
Yeah,
they have.
financing cars is a no-no for me.
Is it for real?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. E. For real.
No. Yeah, you should
I gotta bring
not.
you on my show. This will be a good.
You should not be financing cars.
You shouldn't.
You should
What's your
not.
philosophy on it? Do you think this is your show and I'm asking you a question? Make sure I get this clip to put on my channel. Okay, here's a question, E. Why do you think financing cars is a no-no for you then?
I think if you have to finance a car, you're buying a car that's out of your budget.
Can y'all put the camera on me? Come on, E. Let's go.
No, okay, so one of the things that you said was so good was once you agreed on the price for the car, you said that's it, don't add anything on. Because there's this psychological thing that happens when you buy a car and you negotiate it down. Okay, you get it down $3,000 and you're so proud of yourself that you're on that high. So then when they take you to the back to sign the paperwork, when they start saying, okay, well, would you like to add heated seats? Would you like to add the insurance? Would you like to add this benefit? You add all these things up. And now all the savings that you got initially are counteracted by these things that you've added on.
E.
But they have because you felt like you had that psychological win, your guard is down by the time they get you back there to sign.
E, you know, so after I did collections, you know what I did next?
What?
Sold cars.
Really?
What?
Wasn't that your technique?
What? We would happily talk down the price on the front end because we know on the back end, we'll get you on a warranty. We maybe spent $2,000 for the warranty, but then charge you $5,000. So if you talk this down on the front end, $3,000, well, we made it up on the back end with a $3,000 profit.
Yeah.
And what a lot of people don't know, and I hate to say this because I got some people in the car space, I'm so sorry, but those financial people who are signing the paperwork, they get a huge commission off of the warranties and the policies they sell you for those cars. So it's like you really have to go in there with your number and stick with that number, period. Because everything is marked up tremendously in the car business. And then now, and I want to say this correctly because both of our platforms, I don't want to misquote. They can even go a percentage on the percentage of the interest and they get a fee of that. So I was like, this is interesting. This is like, wow. So they'll come down on the price of the car, but they may get you on the interest rate. Because if they go up on the interest rate, they'll get a portion of that. If they charge you for insurance and for your will insurance, I'm like, that is will insurance. For my car, they wanted like, what was it, like $6,000 for will insurance? I was like,
Jeez.
bruh, no, I just add $2,000 to the savings. We good. Yeah, that was a good one. You have to stick to your number and you have to be willing to walk away.
Yeah.
Because sales reps are taught very well on how to sell. And what they try to do is they talk, hey man, how's your wife? How's family? They want to get you comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Then when you get comfortable, so this is what we can do. You know, hey, listen, man, you just had a newborn. The last thing you want to do is hit a curb and dent your wheel. And then now you got to spend another $3,000. You just had a newborn. Just go ahead and just spend $2,000 to get this coverage and we'll cover you. So they got you comfortable.
Yeah.
Man, I'll be looking at them like, man, don't try me, bro.
You've been on the other side, so
I've been on the other side. And it's just me. I just done the research and I know this is my number. And this is why I'm very big on emergency funds because things will happen with our cars, right? Especially if you're buying used, like what I teach. Something is bound to happen. If you're married, your kid may scratch a car. You may get a dent on a car. This is why I encourage 3 to 6 months of expenses. But then also, if you do have a little bit more of an expensive car, like a BMW, Mercedes, add just a little something on top for that, So that way you're being wise and you don't have to dive into your 3 to 6 months of expenses, but you also have a car fund just in case something, not just in case, if it's just a matter of when something's going to happen. Yeah. I did actually hit a curb in my car and I had to get the wheel replaced. And what I found out was I didn't have to replace the whole wheel. I just had to get someone to come out and just fix the wheel. And that was only $400.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow. So do your research, stick to your number, stick to the plan. You be straight.
The stick to the number is so good because this is another one that you can confirm, but car salesmen use is they get you to psychologically envision owning the car already. So they'll say, okay, come in the car, like let's do this test drive, feel the breeze. And they want you to envision owning it so that your price goes up. But the whole thing is you have to have that price, your max that you're willing to pay before they take you through this experience.
Oh, you're so good. That's good, E. Because here's what I'm going to do if I'm a salesperson. Let's say if you come in and you want to drive You say, you know what? I'm looking for a Honda. Well, they're going to go put you in a Mercedes. And they want you to feel the Mercedes because it costs more. They can sell you more on the Mercedes. And so now they know, like you said, own. How does it feel? You own this. Oh my gosh. Yeah. How much more is this going to cost in a Honda? Well, we can run the numbers. We can make it work for you. But look at that leather. You feel how that leather is gripping you? The Honda got cloth in it. And so you're right. It's like you got to stick to your number and you go there. If you know you want that car and that car is in your budget, go only drive that car within your budget because they're going to try and upsell you with a better car, a car that has more margin in it, right? So do your research, man. Just do your research. That's the key thing. I think people go into anything when it comes to money. They go into it blind. They don't research when it comes to purchasing a car, making an investment, investing into stocks, buying a home. They're not researching on, okay, wait, is this a good number? Is this the best investment for me to make? Is this a good car? What's the quality of this car? Is this a good dealership? Are they known for ripping people off? And so the key thing that I tell everyone is before you purchase anything over $500, do the research. Just study and just see what's going on. Everyone's talking about the new iPhone right now. And I'm like, well, if you got the iPhone 14, why are you buying a new iPhone 15? It's the same phone, just with a new charger. Why are you going to go spend $1,000? And then I think they said like nearly 6% of the people are actually financing the phone. So why are you financing this phone when it's the same phone as the previous one, just with a newer charger and it can charge a little bit faster and it's the same charger work for your computer now? That makes no sense. Keep your money.
Yeah.
Do the research.
Of all these things, what do you think is the number one thing that car salesmen do to trick you into buying more?
I'll tell you, bet they're going to be upset with me. But we can get your payments as low as $399 a month. But your interest rate is at 20%. And your car is going to cost you about $50,000. Just an example. The number one trick that I think they get people is the payment, is the monthly payment. Because the average person only cares about what they're spending out monthly. When the wealthy individuals, we care about what am I spending, period, for the car. And so you need to negotiate the price of the car up front. And if you're going to finance, which me and Erica totally disagree with that, you know what I'm saying? Then you can negotiate from there. But for me, it's what's the price of the car? But that's how salesmen get you. It's, hey, we got you at your payment, $500 a month. What's your interest rate?
Mm-hmm.
How long is it? Is this $500 a month for 7 years? We have some car loans now going out to 10 years with a 15, 16% interest rate. But it's like, oh, I can afford the $500. Yeah, but then 3 years from now, you are screwed. The moment you drive off the lot, you're screwed. But the more and more and more and the miles you put on that car, you will always be in this trap of now you got this car on top of that car on top of this car. So that's the number one thing that I think they get people with is that right there. The monthly payment.
Good. That's so good. Because that's one of the first things they ask too is like, okay, how much do you want to pay per month? And they can stretch that loan as long as they want to make sure that you get that monthly payment.
Exactly.
But that's why you have to ask, what is the total cost of ownership? And factor in the interest. Otherwise, they're going to trick you.
And then, and honestly, you guys, I'll tell people this. If you are going to do the monthly payment route, which I don't do that, don't start off at your max number. Because they know, well, they said 500, so they can really do 600. Go in there like, hey, don't even mention a number if you're going to find it. I can afford $20,000 for a car. What's a car? And that's $20,000 after tags, and title. So if it's $20,000 plus tags, and title, I can't afford that car. I need $20,000 all in, out the door.
Love this.
And they try to get me on my car. It's like, oh yeah, we can get you at that number plus tags, and title. I was like, I'm sorry, I can't afford that. I literally got my check. I was like, I'm sorry. No. We agreed this was a number. Bro, but that is the number for the car. No. That's the number for the car, but y'all want more. No, sir. I'm good. He's like, oh, man, we'll figure it out. They don't like me. Because they didn't make as much. Yeah, I appreciate that, but they didn't make as much money on it because here's the thing too, you guys. Back in 2000s, paying cash was actually a very good thing because for financing cars, they had to wait almost 30 days to get the check from the bank. So if you're coming into a cash buyer, you're getting the best deal because they had margin. Well, now since the power of internet, now social media, the car is hard to negotiate. So now they make money off of you financing. So when you walk in with a cash deal, you're actually hurting the dealership because they're not making as much money as they would want if you pay cash and you don't buy any other products from them, and then they lose out on the financing part. So I go in there, I just smile and say, y'all gonna make, I mean, I want you to make some money. You're just not gonna make as much. I'm sorry. I love it. I stick to the guns, man. That's what I do.
I love that we've gone through your career of the debt collector and then the car salesman. What did you do next?
Oh man, I think from there I went into just ministry full time, and then from ministry I had the opportunity to work with Dave Ramsey and his amazing team and crew over there for about 6.5 years, and then now I am out on my own teaching the same message of really just having the debt free lifestyle, and building wealth. And really owning your table. The title of my show is called The Table, and it really stands for how do you take a seat and own the table that you sit at. And I'm really gearing it and focusing really on minority group of people,
Mm-hmm.
and really taking the education that I've learned from working with Dave, from being out there in the world and all my mistakes, and taking it back to the minority communities and cultures and schools, so I can teach them the truth about debt. Because I really wish somebody taught me the basic stuff: how to finance, how to not finance, how to budget, how to finance a home properly, how to make good investments. What is a Roth IRA? I was just in a barber shop the other day, and my barber didn't even know what an IRA was. And I was like, okay, I got a lot of work to do, because the basics, a lot of people want to make a lot of money and make it quick, but they don't know what to do with the money when they get it.
Mm-hmm.
And we make bad decisions. So now I'm in the space of like just really taking this message to the minority group of people and individuals. And I'm having a blast doing it, because just seeing someone's face, seeing a single mother of 2 kids, understanding and learning what's a custodial Roth IRA, learning how to set her kids up to be better than her and then what she is at now, just puts joy in my heart to really teach the basic of financial literacy. And I turn a lot of them on to YouTube. I'm like, yo, she be dropping some facts, y'all. She be teaching you some things on how to get them. Watch it. And so I love doing that. I really do.
I love it. Let's do the investing then, because I feel like investing is the thing that it's not intuitive.
Right.
Budgeting, people are like, okay, I think I get it. But investing, there's this level of intimidation too,
It
where
is.
people are like, well, I didn't see my parents investing. I don't know anyone around me who invests. So how the heck do I do it? So where do you think people should start?
I mean, this is not going to be a popular one, because it doesn't produce a lot of money, but it will produce a lot of money. Is you got to invest into yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You got to start learning. What podcasts are you listening to? Are you listening to Erica? Are you listening to myself? Are you listening to Dave Ramsey? Are you listening to people like Earn Your Leisure? Stuff like that. Or who are you in listening to invest into your mind to grow your understanding? That's key. And so when I started doing that, I started learning things like, wait a minute, HSA, a health savings account? What is that? And okay, wait, the HSA is attached to a high deductible health insurance plan. Well, what's a high deductible health insurance plan? And I'm like, well, wait, high deductible health insurance plan on my payroll is only like $100 out of my check. But I was doing PPO, because when I was doing PPO, my mom said that's the best health insurance to get. I'm like, is it for me at my age? And so when I started learning these things, I went down to a high deductible plan, which simply means that I pay like $8,000, the first $8,000, which is attached to an HSA. That HSA, I can use that for all medical expenses, or I can invest that money. And so as I really learning these kind of things. So for me, investing, I always start, number one, with a 401k if you have a job. That's going to be a Roth or a traditional. From there, I go to an IRA, which is going to be a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA. Then from there, I max out my HSAs. And those are the 3 main things that I really teach to start off with.
Mm-hmm.
Because the 401k, you're going to get your company match. The IRA is just like a 401k for the most part, but you're just not getting a match. And then the HSA, you can use that tax deferred money to pay for medical expenses. And if you have a whole lot in there, you can invest part of it to where that can grow, and then eventually use that for medical expenses down the road. Because we all know, I think what's the study is showing that we're going to need about $300,000 just for medical expenses when we get older. So if we're investing into an avenue tax-free to where we can use that money, why not take advantage of it?
Yeah.
So those are the 3 first places that I teach people to really invest into when it comes to that. And it's very important. 401k needs to be at least the company match, right? So if it's 3%, 5%, you need to at least do that. The goal overall for me is I'm looking at my gross number and I'm investing at least 10 to 15% of that. That's what I'm doing, period. And then outside of investing those three things, I always tell people the next one is real estate. Get into real estate and start a business. Those are the 5 main investments that I teach within my community. Like, do the 3 things that guarantee long-term will bring compound interest. Invest into yourself as far as in a business, something that you own, something that can produce revenue instantly for you now, and then real estate. And there's a secret of real estate that I tell people. It's not really a secret, but it's more so of like, instead of for just looking at property, look at land, because we can't make no more land. So go buy some land and sit on that, put it in a trust, put it somewhere to where you can just sit on it for a while. And then of course, get you some real estate after that. But those are the 5 main things that I teach.
I like that. Let's dig into the HSA a bit more because I don't think we've had a guest talk about the HSA.
Cool.
Can you just explain very basics, if someone has never heard of an HSA, what we're supposed to do?
Yeah. So a health savings account is very basic. We're on a very basic stage, right? Is go to your job, if you have a job, right? Go to them and ask them, do you have a high deductible plan? Because a health savings account is only attached to a high deductible plan. A high deductible plan simply means that before your health insurance kicks in, you're going to have to pay whatever that deductible is. So for me in my company, my high deductible is $8,000. So let's say if I go to the hospital today and it costs me $1,000, well, I'm going to report it to my health insurance, but I got to pay the $1,000. But the moment it gets to $8,001, my health insurance will kick in. So a HSA is always attached to a high deductible plan. So a HSA also allows you, with that job, since you do have a high deductible, you can put money into that HSA account via your job. So before your check comes, they'll take out $100, for an example, put it inside of the HSA. This is going to be before taxes are taken out, right? So now that's tax deferred money. There's tax-free money in here that you can use, and you can take that money. Let's say for the HSA, let's say you do get sick. Let's say you need to go to the doctor. You can take that $100 and spend it on your doctor visit. And you didn't pay taxes on the $100. But for a lot of people, because I always recommend this for like young, healthier people, man, they'll have $5,000, $6,000, $10,000 in an account, and they may use $1,000 of that for their medical, but they'll go and invest the other $9,000. So you can have your HSA company invest that $9,000 for you, and now you're getting that compound interest. The trick is, though, eventually the goal for that account is to use that money for medical expenses. If you don't use it for medical expenses, you will have to pay taxes and penalties if you pull it out earlier. But if you wait till the time to pull it out, then you only just pay the taxes at that time. But for me, my goal is to never use it for anything outside of medical, because when I get older, I'm going to need some medical money. And so why not use that tax-free money on my medical expenses?
And that's why they call it, what is triple tax savings? Is that what they say?
Yeah, because you're saving it. Like, you're saving it on the front end, you're saving it when you're spending it, and you're saving it up front when you get older, as long as you use it for medical expenses. That's the key thing.
Okay, so the first 3 steps are the 401k.
Yes.
Then IRA.
Yes.
Then HSA, what we just talked about.
Right.
When people then say, okay, well, what do I invest in? What do you say?
I think that's where you got to do the research. So I don't really teach people what to invest in. I always say, sit down with a financial advisor and go and figure out, one, how aggressively do you want to invest? And then look at the type of companies that you're going to invest in. So for me, I do mutual funds, right? And I sit down with my financial advisor, even though I'm a money guy. You're a money lady. I have a financial advisor that tells me, hey, here's what's working, here's what's not working. We tend to blend some things. And because of I'm young and I like to see my money grow, I may invest. I'm a very aggressive investor, but I tell everyone, I try not to teach, hey, invest into this, invest into that. Because there's 2 things. Well, there's really 3 things when it comes to investing, what to invest into. Number 1, you need to get with a financial advisor that will teach you and coach you on what you're doing and what's going on in the economy, so you understand that. Then number 2, you got to believe in what you're investing in, and so a safe bet, I always tell people, is a mutual fund, right? So that way you invest into multiple companies at once, like the top 500, the S&P 500 is a good example of that. You're going to invest into the top 500 companies. So if Apple dies, well, you still got Microsoft and these other companies that cover, which is a great investment route. I'm not a huge fan of single stocks, but I know people who's won in single stocks. But the numbers show that the majority of people do not win when they invest solely into one single stock, right? And so I always tell people, get with a financial advisor, talk about what you're really interested in, learn what's out there. I always say, bare minimum, have a mutual fund opened So that way you can invest into that, figure out if you want to go aggressive or not as aggressive, see if you want to invest into stocks or bonds or certificates. I mean, really have that conversation with your financial advisor. But when it comes to the 401k, I tell everyone up top, if you have an option between Roth or traditional, you go Roth.
Yeah.
So go ahead and pay your taxes now. Let it grow tax-free. That's all your money at 59 and a half or 65, whatever age that is. I forgot off the top of my head. And then if you don't have Roth, then you go traditional. Get the free money. But I'm telling you right now, one thing I learned when I was with Dave is match beats Roth, Roth beats traditional. So first is match.
Agreed.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And then after that is Roth.
Match is free money. Like if you're not taking your match,
you're crazy.
Leaving money on the table.
You're crazy. And so match beat the Roth beats traditional, and traditional beats nothing. So you want to be investing as much as you possibly can into safe areas. And then I think from there too, man, I mean, there's other things you can invest into if you want to have play money and try it. Cool, great. But those are the foundations that I believe in.
Yeah. And I think even if you're having play money to invest into other things, it needs to be a smaller percentage.
Absolutely.
Probably only after you max out those first few buckets.
Teaching good. I did the crypto play and I was scared and I don't like crypto. But I was like, you know what? Let me just play $100. And then I started seeing it go up. I said, let me put $20 back in there. It started going up. I said, okay, let me put $10 in there. But I never went and just put $5, $10, $15, $20,000 in there because it wasn't something that I felt comfortable doing. And with my play money, watch this, I put all of that, I'll say not all of it, I'll say about at least 90% of it, play money, back into me. So I'll put it back into my business, back into my education, back into masterminds and groups, because I am the number one investment that I can make. I'm better than a match. I'm better than a 401k because I can grow me faster than anything else. And if I'm growing and evolving, I'm going to invest better. I'm going to be wiser with my money. And so what I tell everyone, if you want to have play money, instead of buying a pair of Jordans, you want to go put that into the, to the crypto Bitcoin currency. I'm cool, great with that. But when you have some real play money, you have some margin, the best investments, like you said, is max out everything that you can on the safe side, get aggressive a little bit with it on the safe side, but then what are you investing back into yourself that can grow a business that you own, that you have control over, that builds you a legacy? And that's the season that I'm in right now, is what am I building that while I'm sleeping, while I'm on sabbatical for a month, I'm still generating income. And to me, I get excited about that just as much as I get excited about when I go into a 401k and when I go into the IRA. And I don't really go in there that much anymore because I don't want to see the ups and the downs, because, when you see the downs, like, wait a minute, you want to pull out. And so I just go in there once a year when I meet my financial advisor. And every time, I'll be honest with you, every time I meet my financial advisor now, the number's always up. But when I was looking at it like every month, I was up, down. I'm like, oh, Lord. And I was like, why am I doing this to myself? And so I stopped doing that. But I will tell you something we haven't talked about that I love doing: high yield savings accounts. Now, when I go into that every month, I do go into that every month. And I see those dividends that's deposited to my account. I'm like, well, look at God. Come on. Like, that's my date money right there. How you doing? I don't touch that money because it flips. But I think that's something that a lot of people are sleeping on too. They're putting their money into these bank accounts, a savings account only getting 0.03%, when right now I'm getting 5.2% on my account. And I love it. And I have a good amount in that savings account. And I love seeing, respectfully, it's a good amount of money that's deposited into that account every month.
Yeah.
And I love that.
CDs you should also look into, because I think right now you can get above 5% for these CDs too.
Man, listen, I like CDs. I don't have any myself because, you gotta let it sit there for a long time. But I mean, I think at this season of my life, what's wrong with that?
But what a lot of people don't realize about CDs is they think your money is locked in there. If you get a 12-month CD, your money is locked in there for 12 months. It's not necessarily. So you can pull the money out and you're never going to lose the principal. So if you put $10,000 into CD, you're never going to go below that. If anything, the penalty just means they'll take away a little of the interest you've earned. But it's not like your money's locked away forever. So I put a lot of my money in CDs.
Okay.
And then sometimes I do have to break the CDs. But it's like, okay, they'll take interest that wasn't really mine anyways, so it doesn't matter.
So break that down a little bit more for me. So like if I put $10,000 in there and 3 months from now, I need $2,000. I can go pull the $2,000 out.
Yes. And depending on where you opened your CD,
Right.
they might take a bit of a penalty,
Okay.
but the penalty is just on the interest that you've earned, usually in the 3 months prior.
Oh, I got you. So if I put 10,000 in and I earned, let's say 600 in interest, I'm gonna pull the 2,000 out. They may pull 50 from the $600 of
Yeah.
interest, but not from the principal of what I put in.
Yeah. But like everything that we talked about, it's negotiable. So I had a CD
Ooh.
with, I don't know, $100,000 in it.
Okay.
And I had to pull it out because I wanted to buy a house.
Yeah.
And they were going to charge me the penalty of the interest I earned was something like $3,000. So I negotiated my way out of it to pay $0 in penalty.
So how did you do that? And now this is new for me right here.
Yeah, because what you say is they ultimately these banks want you as a client. And you say, look, I have a house that I have to pay for right now, so I have to take the money out of the CD. But you know me, I've been a customer for many, many years. And as soon as I have that money again, it's going straight into a CD. So could you please waive this penalty this time? And I've had this happen multiple times where they just say yes. It doesn't hurt them to let you to release the CD, but it does hurt them if you're so upset about this penalty that they lose you as a customer and you bring your business somewhere else.
You're right, because if they're only looking at the CD part, but then you got 6 figures over here in your savings for the bank, or you got 6 figures in your checking account, and you take all of that over the CD, that's good. That's good.
But everything with your bank, I negotiated. Like sometimes I accidentally spend on credit cards that have a foreign transaction fees in foreign countries, so I'll negotiate that away. Overdraft fees you can negotiate. Call up your bank, negotiate anything and everything.
And so, but you taught me something about the CDs that I didn't know, as far as in negotiating the interest and the penalty for withdrawing early. And I tried to avoid all penalties at all costs. But I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna open up a CD tomorrow.
You should.
Before
You
this
should.
show's even aired, I'm gonna open up a CD.
Another thing you can do is do a CD ladder.
Ooh,
So essentially
yeah.
you open up a 3-month CD, a 6-month CD, 12-month and 18-month.
Okay.
So that those CDs will mature at the 3-month mark, 6-month mark, 12-month mark. And it's nice to just always know that, okay, my next CD will mature at this date.
Yep. Now, is that with your bank, or you do that with like an investing firm?
I do it with my Navy Federal Credit Union.
Yeah, I love Navy Federal.
Oh,
that was a credit union who I told them about.
Wait, mine. Yeah, I
Yeah,
love Navy Federal
I
because my
love
dad was
Navy
in the Air
Federal.
Force. So
Are you serious?
yeah,
So, yeah,
we're
my dad
both
was in the
military
Army.
brats.
And so Army, my stepdad was Marines, and my dad was in the Army. And so Navy Federal is in our family.
Oh, I love it. Okay, then I'll tell you another secret.
Oh, what's the
This is-
secret?
okay.
Talk to us.
So for Navy Federal, and I don't know if this applies to other credit unions, other banks, but for Navy Federal, if you open a CD, even if you just put $100 in it, that locks in the interest rate. So if the interest rate right now that they're offering is 5%, open up a $100 CD, and then 10 months from now or 5 months from now, you can put more money into that, but you're guaranteed that interest rate still.
That's definitely not working for my bank. I won't say the name of the bank, but that's not happening at my bank. I did not know that.
Because like we all know interest rates go up and down.
Yep.
And so if the interest rate starts to go down,
But
you
you're
still have
locked
that
in.
CD open that's locked in and you can add more money to it.
And then it goes back to like, hey, if you put $10,000 into it, but then you need to take out $2,000, you're just going to lose money off of the interest, but not off of the principal.
Yeah,
But you locked in at the 5%
Yeah.
per se, if that was the number.
exactly. So even if if you put $100 in, and you need to take money out, just take $50 out so you still have $50 in and is locked in the rate.
Wow. Man, I love it.
I love CDs.
I'm going to Navy Federal when I get home, because that's just beautiful. You know, like I said, CDs, I've stayed away from them a little bit only because I don't want to lock up my money. And if I'm gonna lock it up, I may as well just put it into an investment account and just get more interest. But I mean, the CDs now are looking good to me, the way that you're breaking this thing down.
It'll be good. And one more thing that I was thinking about as we were talking is we know that negotiating with banks, negotiating is very important. Sometimes on the other end of the line, you get the wrong person. Maybe they're new, they're scared to do things, they don't have authority, maybe they're in a bad mood. So a lot of times, like the first time I called to cancel that CD, to pull out from that CD, and they wanted to charge me thousands of dollars of that interest that I had earned, the lady said, sorry, I'm going to charge you. And I tried my negotiating and she's like, sorry, So then I was like, okay, I'll actually please leave it as is. I'm going to call back. And so I call back, I get another person, do the same thing. And he says, okay, no problem. We're going to waive that. You get to keep all the interest. So don't just take no from the first no that you hear. Sometimes you just have the wrong person.
Listen, you're right. The hanging up and calling back and hanging up and calling back, it really works. When you negotiate and respect people in the process of negotiating, man, you can get close to what you're aiming for. And I think that is a secret to negotiating. Be kind and be respectful. Don't be rude. Don't say, man, girl, you crazy. No, no. Hey, thank you so much, man. Thank you so much, sir. I understand you can't get there. I totally understand. And come back.
Yeah.
And people always respect people who are respectful. But if you're negotiating in a nasty and a disrespectful and a rude way, I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't want to work with you neither. Even if
No.
I could get you to that price, the fact that you were disrespectful and rude in the process of it, I don't want to give it to you. But if you're rude and kind and sweet, it sounds like Erica on her podcast, then why not? I'll give it to you. And here's the other thing, Erica, that a lot of people don't know is when I say do the research, go on their website and see how long has that car been sitting on that lot. Because once you hit 90 to about 100 and something days, they're actually losing money on that car because it's just sitting there on the lot. So I honestly love looking, okay, has this car been there for about 100 days? Cool, that means price too high. So if I come in there with cash, like, hey, I'm going to give you a deal today, paid cash. They're actually a little excited about that because that car's been sitting there. Where you're probably saying, well, Anthony, how are they losing money on that car? Well, if they have, let's say they have $30,000 locked into this car and it's just been sitting there, well, that's $30,000 that they cannot use to go buy another car. So if you go in there and say, hey, listen, I'll give you $30,000 or I'll give you $28,000 for the car. Well, they get $28,000 of their money back to go now shop for another car and get a better deal for the next time they sell the car. So I'm always doing the research on how long has it been there. If it just got there within the last week or two, I'm not going to get the best deal because it's been there. It just got there, I mean. And so if it just got there within 2 weeks, I'm definitely waiting for the last day of the month. Not the last three. If it's the 30th of the month, I'm going on the 30th of the month.
And why the 30th of the month?
It's commission based. Car dealers are not paid.
That's right.
Most of the car dealerships, not all, most of the car dealerships, I would say almost 80% of them are not paid a salary monthly. They'll get a stipend, like an advancement, like $300 to $500 a week, but the majority of their money comes from the commission of the car. And so I'm going the last day because I'm going to help them get a paycheck. And that salesperson can't make the final decision. It's going to go to the sales manager, right? They're going to fight hard for the sales manager to get this deal to go through because they want to eat next month. And so the sales manager eats off of what they sell too. So when it comes to negotiating, last day of the month, do your research. And if it's been there longer than 90 days, oh, you're in a good sweet spot.
One of the things you were saying was that you invest in yourself, and that's the best investment because you can guarantee that there's going to be a return on investment there. What would you spend $1,000 on if you're investing on yourself?
I would spend $1,000 to sit in a room with you for one day to learn how you build your platform. I would honestly spend $10,000 in a room with Erica to learn how she built her platform. Because the thing is, there's things that you teach on your podcast that's free and it's great, but there's clearly a silent science that you and your husband have learned to really build the platform you have. I think a lot of people sleep on that. Like, well, why would I spend that much money to sit down with somebody to learn something? Man, you put Bill Gates in this room. You put a Dave Ramsey in this room. You put a LeBron James. You put a Mark Cuban in the room, and they say, hey, I'm going to spend a day with you. Hey, you put Jay-Z in this room. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to spend a day with you, but it's going to cost you 10 grand, 15 grand, $1,000. I'm paying that money because of the wisdom that will come from that. Because of I get to pick Erica. I get to ask you specific questions. Like, hey, Erica, I mean, you got millions on like Snapchat and millions on YouTube. Like, what are you doing? And you're helping other people make money. Like, what should I do? And I'm gonna get that information. And so once I learn, Erica, oh man, you can't stop me. Once you show me what to do, once I learn what to do, this is why I say I'm better than a 401k. Because now I'm going to take that information and I'm going to go copy the cat just my own way. And I'm going to duplicate what you taught me in my own flavor with my own touch. That's guaranteed income that's coming. I ain't gonna make $5, $10, $20,000 in 1 month. I'm not gonna make that on a 401k right now. You know what I'm saying? So for me, investing into myself, I'm looking for mentors. I'm looking for coaches that I can invest into them. In return, they're investing into gaining my knowledge, my experience, so I can go out here and duplicate myself and teach that to my team, teach that to my staff, and learn and grow and evolve. And that's the very first thing. When I stepped out on my own, I'll be honest, man, I spent a lot of money to be a part of a mastermind. That mastermind group taught me so much that I didn't know. I'm sitting at tables with people who are making $100,000 a day. And I'm like, wait, what? Excuse me? I think one thing that we did well on this podcast today is we went very practical. They went super practical. Anthony, do A, B, C in that order and watch. You'll be making good money. And I did A, I did B, I did C. And I went back to them and said, and see what you did, because I now learned so much and I'm making good money. So that's what I would invest into, is just really the knowledge and the wisdom and getting a coach. And if you ever have a mastermind, just let me know. I'm gonna do it myself.
Just get lunch with me anytime. From this mastermind that you paid for, what was the one concrete piece of advice that made you the most money as soon as you implemented it?
Communicating is not selling. I am a great communicator. I know how to get on the stage, and I'm a preacher at heart, so I'm a Christian. So I grew up, went to seminary school. I know how to get on the stage and encourage people, but encouraging people is not selling. And I thought I can get on there and I could just get them excited to buy into my product. That didn't work. I failed. There's an art to selling. There's an art of really learning why people want to buy. And when you can learn that art, combine that with your words of encouragement, man, the magic is there. And so in there, I had to really learn how to I had to learn how to sell properly on stage, on my show, and not sell in a grimy way, because I don't want to be that guy. But I want to be authentic with what I'm selling. But I also want to make sure that I'm selling in a way that's good right there. I want to make sure that I'm selling in a way that convinces you that you need this. Like, there's something in you that's saying, I need something like this. I need to do better at showing that I have that. I wasn't good at doing that. And so there was just one guy, he literally coached me for 6 months, and I paid him about $3,000 a month to be my sales coach. And he taught me, like, hey, here's how you get someone's felt need. Then when you can understand their felt need and show that you have the answer to that felt need, you have the solution to their problem, you're selling like crazy. And I mean, the very first month that we launched with him being my sales coach, we did over $200,000 in sales.
Wow.
And I'm like, wow. But again, I paid to be in that room. When I got into that room, not everyone in the room could really help me, but I found the people in the room that I could help, one, be a service to, and who they can help me. And man, it's just been a great, and I was giving them some love. It's the Wellspring Group. It's a great group of people, young entrepreneurs who are Christian believers, and said, hey, we want to help build a kingdom and help make kingdom millionaires. And man, it's just been a blessing.
Love that.
It was a good thing. Sales. I hate selling. Can I be honest?
I hate selling.
I hate it, because I'm like, I wish I could do what I do for free and still live the life that I want to live. But I mean, it's like, I never want to be the guy that's a grimy salesperson. But because of him, I learned how to sell and feel good about what I'm selling. And that has helped me out a whole lot, because I have some of my platform and then it's not generating income. That was rough.
But I think that we both have a similar mentality and business format here, where 99% of the content that we put out is free.
Yes.
Anyone can access it. And then just 1% of the content for people who want to go even deeper with us. They can buy your Impact Creator Society, or they can buy my 3D Money. And those are just for the 1% of people who want to go deeper. But for the majority of people, our content is always going to be free. And that's how we have the impact that we want to have, right?
Absolutely. I believe in giving away as much as I possibly can for free. And even my philosophy is, if I do sell something, it needs to be super affordable, because, we both teach our people to be wise and good stewards of their money. So I can't tell someone a budget, but then I'm charging them a $15,000 product. It just doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
So my product is like my ICS Impact Creative Society program is on like $67 a month. That's affordable, but it's going to generate you income. So it's like for me, I try to give as much away for free as long as I possibly can. But at the end of the day, both of us, you're married. I'm trying to get married one day. We got to eat too. And so we got to make products that is worth your while to invest in. And that's one thing that we're very big on our team. Is like, is this product worth what we're going to charge? And if that answer is yes, we won't charge it. It needs to be worth more than what you're going to pay. If it's worth more than that fee, then we have a good product. If it's only worth that product, then yeah, we're not going to sell it. We need to go back to the drawing board and come out with something that you feel like when you get it in your hands, it's just, wow, thank you, AO. And that's one thing we're working on now.
All right, let's do a little rapid fire round.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. If someone says, I want to be a millionaire, what are the 3 things that they have to learn in order to become a millionaire?
Ooh, millionaire, one, vision. You got to have a vision of where you're going. Aim at nothing. You hit that all the time. So number 1, you got to have a vision and clear direction. Number 2, you got to, I think at the end of the day, you got to figure out a business that you can run and own yourself. And number 3, my philosophy, and I'm not looking at Erica when I say this, is you got to learn how to not have as a lot of debt. You can't have a lot of debt. Okay. Those are my 3 things: vision, business owner, avoid debt.
Good. Okay. Someone, it's not like I like debt. I think using credit cards in a smart way is great.
I got to bring her on my show. We got to have a talk about it.
Okay. Next, if someone has so much debt that they are feeling hopeless, what do you say to them?
I understand. I'm going to give them empathy from the very beginning. I believe empathy supersedes the feeling. It just like, okay, wait, I'm not alone in this. And while I only had $35,000 worth of debt, I would tell them like, I still felt the weight of it, but tomorrow can be different. And I tell everyone, don't look at the large amount of debt. Look at the first thing in front of you that you could attack right now. And then the next day, look at the next thing. And eventually when you know it, when you look up, you're out of debt, So give yourself grace. Get on a plan. Find a plan that you can follow, whether that's a Dave Ramsey plan, my plan, Erica plan, whatever that plan is. You find a plan that you like and that you can stick with that plan, right? And then from there, man, your life will be different. And I tell this to everyone, you have to be willing to be uncomfortable for a season to change the rest of your life. And the reason why people stay in debt is because they're not willing to be uncomfortable. They honestly like being the comfort. The uncomfort they have now has become comfortable. It's become the norm. And I'm telling you now, you can change. Give yourself 12, 24 months, be aggressive, and you'll thank yourself in 2 years that you were willing to be uncomfortable and you took it one step at a time.
That's good. Okay. If someone says, I'm so inspired by this, what are the 3 things that you want them to do this month for their money?
Oh, man. Number 1, sit down and write a vision for your money and a vision for your life, right? What is a vision for your life? Hey, I want to send my kids off to college, with no debt. Cool, great. Does that is it in your budget? Are you saving for your college fund? Are you investing into a 529? We didn't even talk about that. We can't talk about everything on the show. Man, this is good stuff. But it's like if you're inspired today, have a plan for your life, have a plan for your vision for your money. And then 2, look at your debt and start seeing where can I start eliminating debt from? Work that debt snowball, kill it. And then 3, continue to listen to Erica and then come over here and listen to me after you listen to Erica. I'm on her show, so listen to her first. Then come over here and listen to me. And I promise you, between us two, your finances are going to change.
Love that. This has been so much fun. Man. We have a closing tradition.
Okay.
The podcast is called Erica Taught Me, but really today is all about Anthony O'Neill taught me.
Ooh.
So what do you want people to walk away saying, Anthony taught me this?
I want you to say this. I want you to, ladies, tell your boyfriend that Anthony O'Neill from the Table with AO taught you that the caliber of our future, my future, is going to be determined by the choices I make today. And the key word there is caliber. We all have a future, but what is the quality of that future? And I want your quality to be amazing. I want it to be fruitful. I want it to be peaceful. I want it to be prosperous. But the only way we get there is by making better decisions today. So ladies, tell your boyfriend, tell your girl, husband, wife, y'all sit down and have the conversation to see, hey, how can we make our future better? And that's what I hope you learned today on the practical stuff that we taught you on how just making the right steps, investing into these plans, investing into yourself is going to change not just your future, but your kids' future and your legacy from there.
That's so good. Thank you so much.
No, thank you, E. I'm going to ask you on your show. You coming on my show? When you coming on my show, Eric?
Whatever you want.
Let's do it, man.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
If you've enjoyed the episode, please take a moment to leave a review. It really helps support what we're doing. Thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you next Tuesday on a brand new episode of Erica Taught Me.